and I'm the head sommelier of Dis&Dis. And today we will talk about food pairing. Have you ever wondered how to pair fish with wine? Classical wine pairing rules tells us that white wine should be paired with appetizers and red wine with the main dish. But what happens if the main dish is a delicious tuna steak or a salmon? Do we also need to pair it with white wine? In this video I will tell you all about how to properly pair wine with all kinds of dishes. But always remember that wine should be a very joyful experience, and you should be experiencing and discovering what works for you or not. So I suggest, first of all, to have an open mind and start experiencing with the wines. So first of all, here I have some wines on the table, and you can see we have 2 red wines, 3 white wines, a rosé wine and a prosecco, and I will tell you how to properly pair these delicious wines. So we will start about these 2 red wines, 2 Pinot Noirs, one from France and another one from New World, from New Zealand. So red wine, how can we pair red wine with fish? Because normally when we think about red wine, we think directly that we should be paired with meat. However, if we're having a tuna steak or a salmon dish, then we can pair it with red wine. And this is what, because the fatty fish of the salmon and the tuna will balance perfectly with the low acidity of and low tannins of our red wine. You should always think as if a wine pairing with fish should be like a lemon squeezed over the fish. That gives a little bit of flavor, but it shouldn't overpower it. Because if it overpowers and it's very heavy, then the fish and the wine pairing, it won't be nice to taste. You can always try it and then you can tell me what you think about it. But we recommend to pair fish with a nice Pinot Noir, because it's light, it's a medium-bodied wine, and it has like raspberry and cherry fruity aromas that we will balance perfectly with the fatty of the salmon dish. Also for tuna, if you're having a tuna with red wine sauce, you can also pair it with a nice Pinot Noir. You should always remember that for red wine, you shouldn't pick very high tannins and very heavy and potent red wines, because it will destroy completely the dish. So in here we have Barnessois Pinot Noir from Louis Latour, a very known French winery, and Petit Clos from Wirral Valley from New Zealand. Then in the description you will find all the stories about the wineries and more about the wines. So moving on to white wines. How should we pair white wines? Do all white wines pair with fish? Then I'm going to give you some guidance that you should follow, and you can always experience, of course, but there are some guidelines. First of all, if you're having a fish like a cod or sea bass, you should pair it with a dry Sauvignon Blanc, a young, fresh Sauvignon Blanc, because it will balance well with the dish. The fruity aromas and the minerality of the Sauvignon Blanc will be perfect for the dish. If you're having, for example, seafood, like raw seafood, what kind of wine? One of my favorites, and this is a personal preference, is an Albarino. An Albarino, it's a grape that it grows in Galicia, in northern Spain, in the denomination of origin Rías Baixas. In the last 10 years, it has increased a lot in popularity. And of course I understand it, because it's very fresh and mineral, and you can always have it with seafood. If I think seafood, I will always pair it with an Albarino. And also, when you taste the minerality of the Albarino and the fruitiness, it transports you to the Atlantic coast of Galicia, where you are seeing the wind, and then the sea, and then the very nice weather, and then suddenly it comes like a windy breeze from the Atlantic, and this kind of experience, it goes very well when you are having with seafood. And then finally, you can have also a nice Chardonnay. A Chardonnay will balance the food, and then at the end, if you're a pasta lover, which I am, you can, and you're having fettuccine nero, like this is pasta with shrimps, you can have a full-bodied white wine. It's a verdejo that has aged in oak. Then moving to rosé. Maybe you are rosé lovers. One fun fact about rosé is that some people write it with an accent in the E, or some people don't. And in France, the rosé comes from the French word pink, and then it goes with an accent. But you can also write it without an accent because everyone will understand. If you love a rosé wine, a rosé wine, first of all, I'm going to tell you the story about rosé wine. Rosé wine is made of red grapes that, when in the fermentation process, they take out the skins of the grapes, so it gets this very salmon color, which is very difficult to find, because if you leave the skins for a longer period, then you will get a darker rosé color. So when you see like a very light salmon rosé wine, this is a good one, just to know it. So we chosen this Altaleya from it's a winery very close to Barcelona. All of their wines are organic, and they do also biodynamic winemaking techniques. And it's half an hour away from Barcelona. You can see the vineyard, you can see the sea. It's an amazing landscape. You can find all about it in our descriptions below. So if you're having this rosé wine, you can have it with all type of food because it's very fresh, very mineral. It has these tasty notes that you want to keep drinking. And then it goes very well with sushi, with raw sushi, because it's very light, this wine, so it goes well with sushi, like raw sushi. You can also have like cucumber sushi or avocado sushi. And finally, one of my favorite wine pairings of all time is champagne with oysters. This is for me the most fancy and the most luxurious wine pairing in the world. So if you're having oysters, or if you ever had some oysters, you can pair it with champagne, and the bubbly and the bubbles will match perfectly with the oysters, with the minerality of the oysters. Also, if you're having a nice cod and you want some bubbles, because as we mentioned, cod can pair with Sauvignon Blanc, and if you want some bubbles, because sometimes we are feeling a bit frizzy and we want some bubbles, then we can pair it with a nice Prosecco. Prosecco is from Italy, and we took this one, which is an extra dry Prosecco. Very nice. Of course, you can always experience, and you can let me know which wines work for you or which one we don't, and then you can always keep playing with that, and it should be a very joyful experience. If you have any questions or you have any suggestions, you can always write to us. So see you later, wine lovers, and I hope you enjoyed this video.